Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. So, the living aviation legend, Harry Windsor. Yes, we're going to talk about that today. Before getting into that, yesterday's video, thank you so much, all of you, for your comments. Even those of you that, and a lot of you said, you know, it's karma. Meghan has put a lot of shit out there. She's shit on a lot of people in the world, and it's coming back. And yes, you're absolutely right. There was one person who commented, fascinated me, because there were really diverse comments, and I love it when you all have so many different thoughts. And I'd like to read this comment out to you because it was really interested me. And I think it will interest a lot of you. I'm guessing a lot of you probably have seen it. It was in reply to somebody else's comment. It's by Crystal Grimmer. And she or he says, I only follow this account since the Oprah interview, the Meghan story, since the Oprah interview. Before, I wasn't really interested much in the royals at all, although I watched most weddings, including H&M, growing up in Europe, then coming to live in the Commonwealth country, not reading magazines since Charles and Diana's separation, only ever hearing snippets. I was just not into them. I didn't have any ill thoughts when they left the royal family. For some reason, I wanted to watch the O interview. I used to watch her talk show after coming home from a morning shift to wind down. M came across as fake. I was yelling at the TV that she is lying. When she told O how unsupportive the royal family was, her suicidal thoughts brought back what I read about Diana's fall, racism, the wedding 3 days earlier. I used YouTube to find video footage from royal engagements, news articles and footage, and saw how welcomed this woman was in the UK. Also how her demeanour changed after the wedding. I could even see the pushing, shoving and pulling of her husband, Prince Harry. Before you YouTubers like Fiona came to my attention, I felt both had serious issues. Normal people do not behave like this on a world stage. Accusing media, but in the same instance using media, putting shade on the royal family, but using their connection to the royal family to make millions of dollar deals, to get people fired and so on. I felt really sorry for H because I thought he goes along out of loyalty for his wife, having seen how embarrassed he was in some parts of the O interview. However, when the court released the Jason North emails with H, and H demanded to make sure that nothing they contributed to FF, Finding Freedom, could be traced back to them, I lost every bit of sympathy for him. He is as bad as she is. I want all this to end. I want to see the truth about the children. I also believe H will be taken back into the folds, however, won't be seen in public for a long time. I'm okay with this. The man needs deprogramming, rehabilitation. He needs to work his butt off to make a living. Couldn't care less about M. She is probably chasing her dream of making it in Hollywood until the very end. There will probably also be another dumb rich or 2 or 3 to keep her self-proclaimed feminist. And I thought that was all of your comments were brilliant, yes, all of them. If I could read them all out, I would. There's over 1,000 of them. And you all gave me so much good advice. Like, you understand the twinges and the tweaks, and a lot of you are feeling the same. Like, what we all really wanted was just a little bit of justice. Just a little bit. And not a pile-on. You know, none of you guys are bullies. None of you are horrible people. I read your comments all the time. And the few, well, actually, there were a lot of you who said, you know, come on, she's done all this. If she doesn't get pushback, payback, it enables, it emboldens, and it will go on, and it becomes a shining beacon to others that want to behave like that, which is the reverse of what all of us want. So, well, I can't speak for you guys, but I can for myself. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see, like, these catchphrases that come up. You're a legend in your own mind. I mean, we'll come to that in a bit. Or, you know, read the room. And these catchphrases, they are irritating, but I would like to see some sort of a catchphrase come up in the future where when someone encounters an absolute pathological liar who's destroying their life or hurting them, that they can have a strong catchphrase to come back at them, wake that person up. You know, you keep going, you're going to end up like Meghan Markle. You keep going, you're going to be billed as absolute grifters. Not now. I'm sure I turned my Wi-Fi off, actually. I don't know They must be actually ringing me on the telephone. Right, so let's get into it. Ah, you're around, Graham. You finished flying and you're wearing your flying suit.
Yeah.
This...
Getting into character, you see.
Show me what's your little badge? What's that?
It's German.
Oh, did that come with the suit?
It came with the jacket, yeah. The suit's German flying suit, they're very good. And that's, I haven't got my glasses. No.
It says LTG 63, whatever that is.
Transport. Yeah.
Right. Where did you buy it?
eBay.
eBay? I used to like the black one that you used to wear.
That was a jumpsuit for parachuting. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think everybody knows. Oh, you chat to the people. I'll just get rid of our daughter.
Hello, people.
I rejected your call.
Yes, that's the problem with making videos on the phone, isn't it? People ring you.
Got it. It's because I turned all the Wi-Fi off and then they find other ways to communicate and thwart us.
Okay.
Right, so you're a pilot.
Yes.
You've been a pilot for a long time.
Since 96, got my licence in 96.
How difficult was it for you to get your licence?
Well, the hardest part was finding the money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's expensive. Well, it was expensive. Even then, I spent must have been about 7,000 just to get the licence, and then I probably spent about 20 grand in all, getting further ratings, night ratings,
Yeah.
multi-engine ratings.
So it's not really what's the word?
Difficult. No, it's not difficult. It's just expensive. It's very expensive, and helicopters are double expensive.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's not attainable. Is that the right word?
Obtainable.
Anybody could do it.
Anybody can do it. I mean, if you're fit, you can pass the medical.
But not anybody can do it, Greg. God, there are people out there.
Well, you've got
choosing,
exams.
They're choosing between eat and heat, so it's not open to them. It's open to rich people.
Yeah, you've got to have a few quid about you to do it. Yeah, for sure.
How did you manage to get those few quid about you? If you don't mind me asking a pertinent question like that.
My dad died, left me some money.
Right. There you go. Explanation. And you'd always wanted to do that, hadn't you? Because you'd done parachuting before.
Yeah.
Right, so the nub of this video, which we're going to talk about, is Harry Windsor, a living legend of aviation. Apparently, he's going to be awarded this. This award is called Living Legends of Aviation. People like Tom Cruise, John Travolta, people like that are on it. Buzz Aldrin, of course. And now apparently Harry Windsor. Thoughts? Because I think this is going to be a longer video, because this is really part of our territory.
I think the guy's amazing, right? I think he should get the Congressional Medal of Honour to go with all his Victoria Crosses, and he'll have the set, their money.
Yeah. It does make it sort of meaningless, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
And kind of pathetic. And apparently there's some connection to a thing called Kiddie Hawk Air Academy, which is
Kitty Hawk?
No, Kiddie.
Kiddie Hawk?
Kiddie.
I've not heard of that.
Kiddie Hawk Air Academy is apparently, I don't think it's a charity, I think it's one of these not-for-profit organisations where they go round and talk to 6 to 9-year-olds to inspire them to get involved in aviation. I don't think they actually pay for any flying lessons, at 6 and 9 years old, they'd need a cushion to see over the dash, wouldn't they? But they visit various children and talk to them and say, I'm a pilot, I'm going to tell you all about flying, to inspire them to get into flying, when there are museums out there like Hendon where they can go and sit there. So I've just read this in the Daily Mail. I've been on this award website. I can't find a bio about Harry, but the Daily Mail assure us that this living legend in his own mind has there's absolute outrage breaking out all over the UK. Left,
I
right,
don't care,
centre.
honestly, I don't care.
I don't
care.
The only aspect I care is I just see this as another step of global humiliation for Harry. I mean, I just want to say to him, stop it. Stop. You're making a fool of yourself. And these academy people are making fools. I can't believe Tom Cruise is involved. Because if anybody inspires kids to get into aviation, he did the Top Gun films. And the second one I thought was way better than the first. I mean...
Yeah, well, You know, unless you're going to join the military, you're not going to learn to fly. Unless you pay for it. That's the reality of it. I mean, you can't just pass your pilot's license and say, I'm going to get a job as an airline pilot. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. You've got to become a commercial pilot, and then you've got to become what's known as an ATPL, Airline Transport Pilot's License. And like, you've got to know a lot of maths and loads of exams before you're going to get there.
Do you think Harry could do all that?
Well, if he gave up the magic mushrooms and the weed and the drugs, I suppose.
And would he even pass a medical?
He'd pass a medical, wouldn't he? And then he's halfway there.
I mean,
No, not a chance.
The theory is he was a gunner in was it Apache?
An Apache helicopter, yeah.
And the theory is that they think that by giving Harry this award, it's going to inspire children to join aviation.
Well, he's got wings on his uniform. If you see the what was it, Army Air Corps helicopter. So he did the helicopter course, and of course they're not going to fail him, are they? Because his dad's the king. But I didn't see him flying any helicopters, did you?
Whereas William has been an air sea rescue helicopter.
Yeah, William.
That is a serious Top Gun in my mind. I think in anybody's. His father flew. They all fly. Sarah Ferguson has a helicopter licence. I get the impression Harry's actually one of the few members of the family that doesn't actually
fly.
Have a rotary, even private pilot's licence.
Well, if he had a valid pilot's licence, the man's a millionaire. You know, he could have his helicopter, couldn't he, and be flying around and be seen flying around. I've never seen him fly anything. I've seen the video of him jump in the front of the Apache, but he was the gunner, because there's a gun in there, isn't there? I mean, Taylor and Charlie's used to do that in the backseat of the Lancaster, didn't they?
I mean, they've got people like Buzz Aldrin on this list, and people who've, been to outer space, astronauts and stuff. He's being linked. The theory is he's high profile, and they're hoping it's going to bring attention. It's going to bring attention. Can you imagine?
Well, those people are probably linked anyway because they're into aviation, but I don't know.
Well, of course, but I mean,
put Harry's name forward.
This, I think, is turning people like Buzz Aldrin into a joke, John Travolta into a joke, Tom Cruise into a joke.
Yeah.
If I were any of those people, I would simply flatly refuse to attend, and I'd say I want to disassociate myself with your organisation. Why didn't you get Mr. Tumble to be a living aviation
God?
Yes, a god. Oh,
A sky god.
Harry could be a sky god, the emperor of the stars. I mean,
There's a title for your video.
Can Harry and Meghan fans not see how humiliating this is? Which is what I was saying yesterday. It's getting more cringeworthy. Can you imagine the aviation community? Well, at the moment, I mean, they're all kicking off all over the place, going, "What the fuck, Harry? What?" I mean, next they're going to be giving him an award for being a nuclear physicist.
Well,
and he'll be right up there, won't he? He'll be getting a CERN award or something. I mean, it is a living joke.
I can't see many pilots actually caring, They just go,
What if everybody laughs at them and thinks they're a fool?
Well, they laugh at Harry.
But they won't. They're going to be looking at everybody, trust me, and thinking, what a bunch of wankers. Talk about the emperor's clothes. Trying to trick us into thinking that Harry is an aviation legend. What the hell? I mean, I see a lot of people complaining, making comparisons between Andrew, fools, right? Calling Andrew the P word. Well, was he arrested and convicted when I wasn't looking? Because I don't think so. And yet he's been stripped of everything, whereas Harry and Meghan have never been accused of a crime. There's certainly nothing as disgusting and serious as the P word. And they have been stripped of fuck all as far as I can see, and they're still on that website or as working royals. Wow. That makes the palace look bad. That makes the king look bad.
Well, I know from a fact that in the British military, if you get arrested and accused of something, that's it. You're as good as convicted. And even if the case gets dropped through lack of evidence, as far as everyone's concerned, you are guilty.
Yeah,
that's what they're like.
That seems to me, like social media said Andrew's guilty. Oh, well, let's be done with the justice system. Fetch a rope. Let's burn him.
Anyone can be accused of anything. It's proving it. It's the difficult one.
Oh, not these days, Graham. It's just good enough. If social media says so.
She's a witch.
Yeah.
Let's burn her.
That's the territory we're heading into.
It's nonsense.
I suppose if social media says Harry is an aviation legend, I mean a legend. He's a sky god. Harry the Sky God. God be warned, Harry's bigger than you. Woo! Let's
Fanfare,
pick
everyone.
ourselves up.
Royal fanfare for the Sky God.
I mean, at what point are they going to say they're bigger than God? You know, God got all his inspiration from me and H.
Maybe
God needs to know his plans.
Megan can be an honorary Sky God as well. She can have wings and medals and things.
Yeah.
And she can get the Congressional Medal of Honor too.
They could have it like one of those Hunger Games awards ceremonies, couldn't they? With chariots of literally on fire. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is entering the auditorium.
Is that a catastrophic fire?
A catastrophic fire, as well as a catastrophic chariot car chase with paparazzi. I mean, the bullshit levels they're expecting us, the public, to believe now. Fuck off. Harry the what? Harry the... Oh. Well, they are going to draw attention to it, and not good attention, I'll wager. But guess they didn't learn by Netflix mistake. Guess they didn't learn by Spotify mistake. Guess they didn't learn by Hollywood mistake. Welcome to the club. A string of dead bodies.
I'd like to see Harry fly a helicopter, even in VR.
In fact, that reminds me. They're always...
On an Oculus Quest.
Yeah, they're always getting private jets. Let's see him land a helicopter at this awards ceremony. Like in a really tight...
On his own
spot.
with no one else in the chopper.
Exactly. And anyway, I mean...
He won't. He hasn't got a medical. He's got... Thing about drugs and alcohol, right, they don't mix with aviation. I mean, people go to the bar afterwards and they can have a drink. Of course they can, but you're not supposed to drink and fly at the same time. There's got to be like a 24-hour gap between consuming alcohol. And as for drugs, drugs are out. You're not supposed to take drugs at all while you're flying.
No. And
but
also,
Harry proves that you can do both and fly. Or can you?
Well, as you've often said, a pilot's licence is only valid as long as the medical is valid, and your medical expired years ago, and if you wanted, I suppose you could renew it, but you do flight sim because it's cheaper and you can fly anything
and I get
you
to
like.
fly F-16s on flight sim. I mean, in real life I get to fly a Cessna 172 or something like that, you know.
And although
it's seriously expensive, and they're good planes, I'm not knocking them, but you know, I prefer fast jets.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to get my hands on a fast jet, is there? No one's going to.
And I mean, I do applaud people
unless you
like
buy your own.
Tom Cruise and Harrison Ford and John Travolta. You know, I like those characters, but they are multi-fucking millionaires.
And they've got the money. They can afford. They bought their own aeroplanes. They don't. You know, nobody gives them an aeroplane to fly.
Accessible. That was the word I was looking for. So, if you had a little kid who's 9 and he's inspired, let's say by Harry, God forbid, what could go wrong? You could lead that 9-year-old to believe that aviation is accessible and build up all their hopes, and when they hit like 16, 17, they're going to realise they don't have the money. It's not accessible. It's not open to everybody.
It costs a lot of money, it does. It does.
I mean, my advice to Harry is shut the fuck up. Just stop doing this. Stop it. Stop it, please.
See, Douglas Bader ran a charity, and he was helping
for kids,
people with amputated limbs to fly aeroplanes and get a pilot's license. And I thought, well, that's really good, you know. But what are they going to do once they're qualified? You know, have they got the money to continue to keep the license? Because you've got to do so many hours a year to keep your license current. Otherwise, you've got to get checked out again.
Well, I mean, I think the whole thing is. For a start, they need to be quiet, they need to go away, they need to live their lives in privacy, which is what they insisted on from the beginning, and they've got to stop these mad fool awards. I mean, I'm embarrassed, I'm humiliated, I'm cringing. I cringed when I saw that in the comments yesterday. I thought one of you was joking, and then I see the headline this morning and you weren't joking. Oh my God, it's awful. Just stop it, Windsor, stop it. You're making it worse and worse by the day. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys think. As always, thank you very much for listening.